Om Vakar.
Om Vakradunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam
Guru Me
Kurume
Deva
Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada
Sarvada Saraswati
Sarasvati
Namastu
Varade
Varade Kamarupini
Vidyarambam
Vidyarambam Karishami
Siddhir
Siddhi
Bhavatame
Bhavatu Me Sada
Gurur
Guru
Brahma
Brahma Guru Vishnu
Guru
Guru
Devo
Deva
Maheshwaraha
Maheshwaraha
Guru
Guru
Sakshat Param
Param
Brahma
Brahma
Tasmai Shri
Tasmai Shri
Gurave
Gurave
Namaha.
Namah.
Om
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanam Punaktu Sahavirang Karavavahe
Karavavahe
Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vipashavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Prathamodhyayah
Atha Pratamo Dhyayaha
Arjuna Vishada Yogaha
Arjuna Vishada Yogaha
Dhritarashtra Uvacha
Dhrutarashtra Uvacha
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Samaveta Yuyutsavaha
Samaveta Yuyotsavaha
Mamakav Pandavaschaiva
Mamavka Pandavaschaiva
Makurvata Sanjaya.
Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
After the Dhyana Shloka, now the first chapter of the Gita titled Arjuna Vishada Yoga is started. Sorrow meaning Shoka or Vishada. So this chapter titled Arjuna Vishada Yoga presents the cause for the Dukkham of Arjuna. Dukkham, sorrow, despondency is a sign of samsara. So Arjuna discovers the problem of samsara. He discovers helplessness. He recognizes his situation or himself to be helpless. That is the first step. That is the first step in the approach to Jnanam. Recognizing one's helplessness, then asking for a solution in the form of seeking assistance or help from others. And in the case of the Jnanam, it is Guru who only can guide us. Therefore, seeking help, that is intelligence. So Arjuna is intelligent. That you will see in the second chapter. Why Arjuna is intelligent? Because having recognized his helplessness, he sought the help of Krishna, who was his charioteer. Up to up to the situation, up to the point where Arjuna did not ask for the help. He looked upon Krishna as the friend or the charioteer. Once he sought help from Krishna, then he looked upon as his guru. So there is a transformation in there's a transformation in Arjuna. The friend Arjuna became a disciple Arjuna, and the friend Krishna became a Guru Krishna. So that is going to be present in the second chapter. So the first chapter deals with this Vishada, the Dukkha. What is the thing, the situation which caused Dukkha to Arjuna? So the shloka begins with the word Dhritarashtra Visa, which itself is a prayer. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dhritarashtra spoke. He said to whom? Sanjaya. His charioteer is Sanjaya, who was endowed with the, the extra the extra capacity, audio-visual capacity. He was endowed with a special faculty, seeing things from a distance, from a far off. The seeing, you can see the things happening in a far off place, sitting in the palace with the Dhritarashtra. He could see. He had that capacity. Yeah, it was a faculty. It was a capacity given to Sanjaya as a boon from Vyasacharya. In fact, Vyasacharya wanted to give this boon to Dhritarashtra. Since Dhritarashtra denied and also asked that the boon, that the faculty, the special faculty, be given to Sanjaya. Therefore, Sanjaya was endowed with this special faculty of seeing things, seeing the seeing things happening at a far off place, sitting in the kingdom, sitting in the palace. So, sitting at home, he can watch, like you watch the television. Similarly, sitting at home, he can see and also hear the dialogues between the people. So that is why it is audio visual capacity. It is not foresight, it is not foreseeing. It is he was endowed with seeing, literally seeing, perceiving, the perception, extra perception. It's the perception of with the the indriya, chakshur indriya, that is called a sight. This is this is a sight. This is also pratyaksha, but but it is not within the range of the perception of his sight. It is outside the range. That is why it's a boon. It's a special faculty. It's a special faculty. As we see things with our physical eyes, similarly, he could see with the physical eyes, could see the physical with the physical eyes itself, the things happening at a far off place. That was the boon. That was a faculty. So therefore, now Dhritarashtra, he wants to know what the people who had assembled in the Kurukshetra were doing. Who are the people assembled, Pandavas and Kauravas? He had strong Abhimana with his son and his army. So therefore he says, Mamakaha iti. This shloka we saw in the last class, Mamakaha Pandavaha. So, Mamakaha Pandavaha cha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre, in the Kurukshetra, which is Dharmakshetra, Punyakshetra, where Yujutsus, Yujutsavaha, the people who were desirous of fighting, who had assembled, what were they doing? My people and the Pandavas. So clearly distinguishing my people and the Pandavas and the sons of Pandu. So Pandu sons are not my sons. They are not my people. That is why Mamakaha. The word Mamakaha important. The sense. Aham Tesham Mama Yete. This is Abhimana. This Abhimana, these are my people and I belong to them. This Abhimana is this samsara. Abhimana with, one has to have the Abhimana with this body, mind, sense complex. Then only one can relate to others as belonging to me or I am belonging to them. So aham tesham te mama iti. So connecting them, there is a bondage. There is a bondage. So the pain of them is a pain of me. The pleasure of them is a pleasure of me. So therefore only the dukkha of Duryodhana becomes the dukkha of Dhritarashtra. So therefore wanting to please the son, his son, Duryodhana. So Dhritarashtra also did not care to follow, did not care to observe dharma, even though being the king of Hastinapura, as a king is a duty. As a king, it is his duty to establish, to follow dharma. But in the case of Pandavas, he did not follow dharma. So therefore, he's also in adharmi only, because it's on the adharma paksha, wanting to please Duryodhana. Therefore, he didn't say anything to what Duryodhana did. Even for the war, even when he refused to give the 5 villages or even 5 houses to Pandavas, Dhritarashtra did not rebuke him, did not scold him. He did not say anything to Duryodhana, not asking him to refrain from them. He didn't say. So he allowed Duryodhana to do as he wishes. Why? Because he wanted to please his son. He wanted to please his son. That really, the pleasing his son, Duryodhana, it became the cause for the destruction of Duryodhana. He thought that is the love, but that is not the real love. Had he corrected Arjuna in the beginning itself, Arjuna would not have become the cause for causing trouble to Pandavas, and therefore he would not have got destroyed along with his parivara, his brothers in the battlefield. Dhritarashtra could have saved his son. That is what is indicated by the blindness. Dhritarashtra, not only physically blind, he doesn't have vision. His blindness is it indicates, it's a symbol of his blind love for his son. Ultimately, did not do any good to his son. In fact, he brought destruction of his son. So therefore, Dhritarashtra. We can call a person who has blind love for his sons as Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Even though the name is the name of Ishvara, but here Dhritarashtra has got blind love. Has got blind love for his son. Therefore, only Andaha. Akshna by eyes, Akshna Andaha. He doesn't have eyes, vision in his eyes. Even though he has physical eyes, but there is no vision. Similarly, he has no vision. Therefore, he was bound, blindfolded to Arjuna. And therefore, he approved all his actions, even adharmic. So that Dhritarashtra, wanting to know that what was happening in the battlefield Kurukshetra, he asked Sanjaya, "Hey Sanjaya, Mama putraha, mamakaha. Mamakaha is those who belong to me. Mamakaha. His sons, Duryodhana and his sons, they are referred to Mamakaha, and those who fought, or those who are on the side of Duryodhana, they are also Mamakaha, because they are also helping Duryodhana, therefore collectively he calls Mamakaha. Or we can take Mamakaha to be Kauravaha, that is Mamaputraha iti. He is interested only in the welfare of his own sons alone, and that too particularly Duryodhana. So Mamakaha Pandavaha, Kim Akurvata, what were they doing? Here one important thing you can see. Kim Akurvata. He didn't ask Kim Kurvanti. This is not here, Kriyapadam, it is in Lang Lakara, not in Lat Lakara. If he had asked Kim Kurvanti, it means what are they doing? Present tense. But he asked what were they doing? It means it is about the past, not about the present. He wanted to know what happened, not what is happening. What's the difference between what happened and what is happening? What happened is past. What is happening is present. If it is present, then you would have asked Kim Kurvanti, Mamakaha Pandavaha. But here, Kim Akurvata, what were they doing? It means the war had already started. It is the war had already started. Therefore, this is not a live telecast by Sanjaya. Sanjaya not reporting the events which were happening that moment, not live. In fact, Dhritarashtra called Sanjaya to his place when he heard that Bhishma, the commander in chief of the Kauravas, had been shot by Arjuna. He heard that news. Arjuna was made to lie on the bed of arrows. Bhishma was made to lie on the bed of arrows by Arjuna. Arjuna had shot arrows and he had almost killed Bhishma. Bhishma didn't die because Bhishmacharya, he had the boon Icha Maranam. He had the boon Icha Maranam. That is, he can choose to die. He can choose the moment he wants to die. Even though he had been shot by Arjuna with arrows, but he did not die. He was waiting for the right time to come. The right time is, that is, after Dakshinayana, Uttarayana. Uttarayana comes. Uttarayana, that is the month from January to July. So this war, it was happening in the month of, you can say, December. So December month he was shot down. Therefore, he was waiting for January 15th, after January 15th, because that is only Makara Sankranti. That from there only Uttarayana starts. So Uttarayana is the month, 6 months period, that is January to July. And July to January is Dakshinayana. So therefore, he was waiting for the Uttarayana Kala, Uttarayana to come, because those who die in the Dakshinayana, they will pass through the dark path and they will go to the lokas, Pitraloka, I mean, they will go to other loka. They will go to loka which will bring them back. That is, they will come back. Whereas Uttarayana is Punya Kala. He will go to Punya Loka. Therefore, he was waiting for Uttarayana Kala, Uttarayana to be born. So even though Bhishmacharya had been shot down by Arjuna, he did not die. He was made to lie on the bed of arrows. Arjuna prepared a nice bed, not made of cotton, made of arrows. On that, Bhishmacharya was made to lie down. Having heard this, Dhritarashtra became worried because most powerful person of his side, commander-in-chief, Bhishma himself was shot down. Therefore, Dhritarashtra became worried. And when this happened, not in the first day or second day, after the 10 days, on the 10th day only, Bhishmacharya was shot down. It means out of the total number of days was 18 days. So it means on the first day onwards, Dhritarashtra was not asking Sanjaya to report what was happening. Sanjaya waited for some good news to come. But when he got the bad news on the 10th day that Bhishmacharya was shot down, he became worried and then he called Sanjaya and asking him, you tell me from the beginning what had happened, what had happened and what is happening now. So therefore, Sanjaya, from the day one, from the first day of the war onwards, he was reporting from the day one what happened was reported by Sanjaya. Therefore, Kim Akurvata, therefore only Lang Lakara past tense. Therefore, it is not a direct or live telecast. It was the recounting of the recorded event, past event. It is just like playing the recorded event. So from the first day up to the 10th day, what had all happened, he will report. And from the 10th day onwards, the current events, that will be live telecast from the 10th day onward to the 18th day. So the war spanned for 18 days. On the 10th day, Bhishmacharya was shot down. Having heard the news, he called and asked Sanjaya to report from the day one what had happened. Therefore, only in the question Kim Akurvata is there. What were they doing? Past tense. This many things, this many people they don't know. They thought Sanjaya reporting directly. No, the first 10 days, the recounting of the events of the first 10 days, that is the past events, and from the 11th day onwards, it is the live telecast, present event. So all that 18 days, what had happened, he was reporting. So therefore, only here in this shloka, Kim Akurvata is otherwise, Kim Kurvanti Sanjaya, you would have asked therefore Akurvata, Kim Kritavantaha Mamakaha Pandavaha iti. So hey Sanjaya, calling Sanjaya, because why he asked from the 10th day, that because he heard the news that Bhishma was shot down. So he had a doubt whether my son would win the war. He was worrying. That's why he called Sanjaya. The worry only caused him to call Sanjaya and ask him to report the events. Had he heard that Duryodhana was gaining upper hand, then he would not have called Sanjaya. He wanted to hear only the victory news. Because he did not hear that, therefore, he became worried and called Sanjaya and asked him to recount what had happened. So, hey Sanjaya, oh Sanjaya, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre, Samavetaha Yutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaha Kim Akurvata, what were they doing? What indeed my people and the Pandavas do, assembled at Kurukshetra, the abode of Dharma, desiring to fight. In the Indian tradition, any beginning begins with a prayer. We have read this anyway. Just we'll read quickly. Being in the middle of the Mahabharata, Gita doesn't require a beginning prayer of its own. Still, for this 18 chain of 18 chapters, for this pendant jewel placed against the background of the much larger topic, it seems the prayer should be there, and it is implied in this first verse. A prayer can either be expressed or implied. The first word of the Gita, Dhritarashtra, is a prayer by implication. The name itself, the word itself is a prayer. Why? Because it's the name of the Lord. It means the one who sustains a kingdom or the whole universe. Yena drishtam yena dhritam rashtram. Yena dhritam rashtram. It is therefore an appropriate name for a king. Had Dhritarashtra not been blind, he would have been the ruler of the kingdom. Rashtra also refers to the world, the entire universe. The Lord is the one who is the holder, the sustainer of the order that is the world. Therefore, Dhritarashtra is also the name of the Lord. By beginning the Gita with the name of the Lord, the traditional opening prayer is implied. So, therefore, we follow the tradition. The tradition is followed by invoking the Lord in the beginning in the form of the prayer in the form of the word. Therefore, tradition is followed. Sampradaya, the Sampradaya prayer is important in the beginning of the text. Therefore, it is not violated. The opening scene of the Bhagavad Gita takes place in the palace in Astinapura, the capital of the kingdom of the Kauravas. This was the kingdom that the Pandavas were supposed to rule, but which was now ruled by their cousin Duryodhana, who had usurped the kingdom. As we have seen, the Pandavas were tricked into exile by Duryodhana. They had to spend 12 long years in the forest plus 1 year living incognito somewhere in the empire. The kingdom was to be returned to them after they had fulfilled these conditions. The Pandavas served this term of 13 years and came back to claim their kingdom. However, Duryodhana would not give it back to them, and therefore war was declared. They could choose to either go back to the forest or take the kingdom back in battle. All possible compromises were put forward, but Duryodhana would not give one needle point of land to the Pandavas. It had therefore become a problem of justice. Therefore, this is Dharma Yuddha, because Duryodhana usurped the kingdom and not willing to give back their portion. Therefore, war became inevitable. The problem of justice, dharma. Dharma here means that which has to be done. Dharma meaning karma. That kartavyam karma, that is called dharma. What has to be done at a particular situation, point in life, keeping with the varna ashrama, that is called dharma. So kartavyam karma, that which is to be done. That is why dharma is sometimes translated as duty. The duty of a Kshatriya is to establish dharma, order in the society. Dharma can also mean order. So dharma can mean duty, dharma can mean order, dharma can mean righteousness, dharma can mean karma, and dharma can mean punyam also. In the Chaturveda Purushartha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, their meaning of the word dharma is punyam. So here the word dharma is that which has to be done. No compromise on that. That to be done at the given time, given point in life to be done. Rulers also have their dharma. So everybody has dharma in keeping with the varna and ashrama. Duty. So rulers also have their dharma in that there are certain things that must be done by them. The kingdom belonged to the Pandavas and Yudhishthira, in fact, was a ruler. Every minute that Duryodhana continued to occupy the throne confirmed adharma for which Pandavas were responsible. Therefore, there was therefore no other way but to accept the challenge and fight it out. The throne, which was supposed to be adorned by Yudhishthira, now it being adorned by or usurped by Duryodhana. Therefore, it is adharma. And who is responsible for that? The one who allowed. Who are those people? Pandavas. Pandavas are responsible. If Pandava had not climbed the kingdom back through the battle, then Pandavas also become adharmika. It is the duty of it is a duty of the Kshatriya, or it is duty of everyone. It is duty of everybody to ask for what is deserved. If what you deserve is usurped by others and you don't claim for it, then because your weakness, then it is equivalent to abiding by adharma. Therefore, one has to fight. One has to fight for one's right. And here, if Pandavas, suppose if they are taken sannyasa, then it is a different thing. If they are taken sannyasa, they are given the kingdom. If they had given up the kingdom, if they had given up the kingdom, abandoned the kingdom, given to Duryodhana, and with that would have been different. That is different. That is not adharma. But Duryodhana, he took the kingdom of Pandavas and drove them away. Therefore, it is a duty of the Pandavas to get back the kingdom. That is, therefore, it is dharma. How to get back the kingdom? Not by any diplomatic means. It's all over. Krishna had done the job. Nothing worked out. Therefore, only the battle was the answer. Inevitable battle. That is why Mahabharata, there was no war probably like Mahabharata. Maybe the World War I or II, maybe. But all the people in the Mahabharata were killed. Nobody was left out. They had to pay a heavy price to establish Dharma. That way, Dharma had to be established. Now, Duryodhana had gathered the support of most of the kings within the empire by bribing them in various ways. He had the power in his hands to do this. Some of the kings joined the Pandavas too. In this situation, Krishna was another force to be reckoned with. His kingdom was Dwaraka on the west coast in Gujarat. Krishna had a well-known and very valorous army of Narayanas. So Krishna, that Arikata Sambodhana Sambodhitam, we saw in the Dhyana Shloka. So there is a mentioning of the story of Krishna also in the Mahabharata. If not elaborately, but it is mentioned. So he was born, but whole story of Krishna is mentioned, his birth and etc. Maybe in some other text like Bhagavata, it is elaborated, but here his story from the birth is mentioned in Mahabharata. So Mahabharata contains the story of Krishna also. So Krishna was ruling the kingdom called Dwaraka. Now, the Krishna, he was a person who went as a diplomat to Duryodhana, and he was in fact insulted. Now the same Duryodhana and the Arjuna both will go to Krishna to ask for help. Duryodhana interested in getting the army of Krishna because he had a very valorous army, and Arjuna not interested in the army of Krishna, is interested in Krishna himself. He wanted Krishna to be his driver, charioteer, because when you are fighting, when you are doing the job of fighting, you will not have all the time to think. So you need some mentor. The charioteer, most of the time, the charioteer play the role of mentor, advising appropriately to the fighter. So if Krishna is there as a charioteer, then success is assured. Therefore, Arjuna intelligently, this is his intelligence. Intelligence, and Duryodhana not intelligent. He asked only for the army. He thought the number of people will make the difference. But Arjuna thought Krishna would make the difference. The, the end result depends only on the Krishna, Arjuna believed. Whereas for Duryodhana, he thought the result depends on the strength of the army. Therefore, Arjuna being intelligent, he asked only for Krishna to be present as his charioteer, wanting him to be a driver. So now both approached Krishna. Duryodhana thought that Krishna's support would tilt the balance. Although Duryodhana's army was bigger than that of Pandavas, he had great stalwarts like Bhishma and Drona in his ranks. He felt that Krishna's army would make the difference between victory and defeat. That's why he's unintelligent. Therefore, he went to Krishna's palace to seek his help. Krishna was resting at the time. Duryodhana was the first one to arrive. He saw that Krishna was sleeping, and he found a nice chair at the head end of the sleeping Krishna and sat on it, waiting for Krishna to wake up. This is also important to be noted. He sat at the end of the Krishna. Arjuna also came at that time. Arjuna also arrived shortly, and he also had come for the same reason. Same reason is asking help. And since Krishna was sleeping, he also doesn't want to disturb. He stood with folded hands at Krishna's feet. That shows his surrender. That shows the bhakti, the maryada, respect. So to Arjuna, Krishna was not just a king. Through his mother Kunti, they were related, but Arjuna knew Krishna to be more than an ordinary mortal. He had not yet recognized him as his guru. That is going to come in the second chapter. But he did recognize him as a person of extraordinary powers, caliber, and wisdom. Rumor had it that Krishna was an incarnation of the Lord, that he was an avatara. In fact, many members of Arjuna's family worshipped him. Arjuna's uncle Vidura and his wife looked upon Krishna as a lord, as did Arjuna's brothers, their wife Draupadi, and their mother Kunti. Arjuna recognized him more or less in the same way and wanted his help. This recognition of Krishna as an avatara is an important aspect of the Gita. Duryodhana knew why Arjuna had come, and Arjuna also knew why Duryodhana was there. As he opened his eyes, Krishna saw Arjuna first, but Duryodhana no doubt made his presence known, perhaps by clearing his throat. Like that, he made his presence known. Krishna then returned to Duryodhana and asked him what he could do for him. Then he put the same question to Arjuna. Duryodhana responded by saying, "You know why we have come? Why I have come? I seek your support." He also added, "I was the first to arrive, and therefore my request should be entertained first." Arjuna also said, "War has been declared, and I'm asking for your support." So both wanted help from Krishna. But what help they asked? That is going to come in the second paragraph. Krishna's proposal. Krishna was now in a great fix, but he was an adept at getting out of such tight situations. To both of them, he made a proposal. He said, "If I join either of you, I will not fight. You have a choice between me, who will not lift a weapon on one hand, and my army on the other hand. If you choose me, you will be choosing the person Krishna, mere Krishna who refuses to fight." Krishna was known to be a great fighter. Even as a child, he had knocked out Kamsa and had dealt with hordes of demonic people. To have such a fighter on your side would be great asset, but this was not Krishna's proposal. Instead, he said, "Arjuna, I happen to see you first, even though Duryodhana claims to have arrived first. However, because you are the younger of the two, you have the chance to choose first." The younger ones are entitled to this privilege. Therefore, I am proposing this to you and ask you to choose one of the two options. That is, Krishna, who will not fight on one side, and the army of Narayanas on the other side. So you have got two, either me or my army. Choose one among them. If you choose me, I'm not going to fight. I'll come to your side, perhaps give some advice. But the army will go to Duryodhana. If you choose the army instead of army, then Duryodhana must take me. Krishna issued this proposal to Arjuna, knowing what his choice would be. He also knew that what Duryodhana would prefer. As he expected, Arjuna chose Krishna's services, whatever they would be, in whichever form they would be available. This was what Arjuna wanted. And so he said, Krishna, please come to me. Intelligent prayer. If Duryodhana ever prayed in his life, this was surely the time he prayed, and his prayers were answered. Because he thought Pandavas to be sentimental and born losers, Duryodhana expected Arjuna to ask for Krishna. He certainly did not want Krishna for himself. Had he thought, suppose if he had thought, then he would have respected Krishna when Krishna came as a diplomat to Duryodhana, but he did not. He did not show respect. In fact, he insulted even his uncle Vidura. Sorry, it, the uncle of Krishna, Vidura. He insulted. Therefore, therefore it is. Therefore, he certainly did not want Krishna. He would only be another mouth to feed during wartime when food was necessarily rationed. Who thought? Duryodhana thought. If Krishna been my side. So I wanted his only his army. In addition, Krishna being a respected person, Duryodhana would have to take good care of him. Duryodhana did not want to be continually torn between taking care of Krishna and thinking about the war. A fighting Krishna would have been something to think over, but a non-fighting Krishna, a mere Krishna, would be useless to him, he thought. Duryodhana wanted Arjuna to ask for Krishna so that he could get Krishna's army, and this was exactly how it worked out. He returned to his camp rejoicing. Duryodhana had made his day. He was sure that he could win the war. The Krishna's army meant crack divisions with men who were fit to fight, adding greatly to his already enormous strength. So Krishna's army and his army plus his allies, all amounting to 11 Akshoginis. Duryodhana had got huge army, whereas Arjuna had only 7 Akshoginis. The number of the people in the army, 7 Akshogini only. So 11 plus 7 also 18. Number of days the war took place also 18. So 18 is a significant number. Even the word Jaya, Jaya is a name for Mahabharata. That also by a specific number system, Katapayadi system, that is also Jaya is equal to the 18. So 18 is something, yeah, important number. So Duryodhana was so happy having got the army of Krishna, and Arjuna was also was equally happy. He knew Duryodhana was ecstatic, and he also knew what Duryodhana had thought of him. Duryodhana's attitude and the value structure was such he would definitely look down on Krishna and his preference. But Arjuna knew that that with Krishna by his side, he would win the war. And Sanjaya expresses the same idea in the last verse of the Gita. It means Sanjaya or even over maybe Vyasacharya knew that what would be the result. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishnaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutihi, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishnaha, where Krishna is, Yatra Krishnaha, Tatra Dhanurdaraha, the Partha with his Dhanu, with his bow in his hand is there. There victory would be. Tatra Shrihi Vijayaha, there all the wealth, Vijaya meaning success, Bhutihi, Dhruva, Nitihi, Mama, there justice will be. Iti, my opinion, who says, Sanjaya says, Mama Matihi, my opinion, my view. What is that? Where Krishna is and where Arjuna is, wherever Krishna is, wherever Arjuna is with his Dhanuhu and Dhanudharaha with his bow and arrows, there would be victory, there would be prosperity, there would be glory. So it means Arjuna with Krishna as his charioteer is going to win the war. So this idea Sanjaya expresses in the last verse of the Gita. It means Sanjaya probably knew that Pandavas would win. With this, we'll stop. The unknown factor, Deva, about which we saw in the beginning, that is, we'll see the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate.
Purnamavashishyate. Om
Shanti
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 Shanti Shanti.
Shanti. Hari Om.
Harihi
Shri
Om Shri
Gurubhyo
Gurubhyo
Namaha.
Namaha.
Hari
Harihi Om.
Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavadaha.